Hey everyone, Piano Man Chuck here, back with the Casio Privia Pro PX-5S. And today we're going to talk about stage settings, which is, it can be kind of confusing, and today we're going to make that crystal clear for all of you to understand. It's really not that bad once you understand it. How many of you out there have worked with a mixer, or a soundboard, or mixing board, whatever you want to call it? They're all the same thing. If you do, you're well on the way to understanding what the stage settings are all about. Now, if you haven't worked with a mixer, bear with me while I explain this just a little bit. If you watched MTV or VH1 or whatever, you're going to see sound engineers, recording engineers, mixing engineers, whatever you want to call them, working with mixers. And basically, you're going to see them moving these sliders up and down and all these knobs and buttons above those sliders. And basically what each slider does is control the volume of a particular instrument, and all the knobs and buttons control the effects. Where is that in the mix? Left to the right, center, maybe a little bit to the left. We're going to add reverb, maybe a compressor or a limiter, some EQ, and so on and so forth. Those control the effects. So basically, you might even spend a week or two learning how to use one strip on a mixer. And a strip is a vertical thing that's basically it's that slider and all the knobs and buttons that are above it and some that are below it. Once you learn how to use that, all the rest of them do the same thing, but they control a different instrument. John might be singing with a microphone and it's hooked up to channel strip 1. And you're going to control things about John's singing. Is it going to be a little to the left? Maybe we're going to add some reverb. Maybe we're going to do something else, and maybe he needs to have more bass to his voice. We're going to add that, and so on and so forth. Effects. Paul is going to be playing a bass guitar, and we're feeding that into channel strip 2. We can control everything about that, same way we control John's voice on strip 1, but now strip 2 is dedicated to that bass guitar. And a rhythm guitar might be playing, and we're going to feed that into strip 3, and we're going to control everything that we could control with the other strips, except that strip is dedicated to that guitar. And the same thing with every single instrument or every place there's a mic. Each strip is devoted to each mic or instrument, whatever. So you can control. Once you know how to once you know how to work one strip, you know how to work them all. The only difference is the functions are all the same. They're each controlling a different instrument. Now that you understand that, when you go to stage settings, and there's 100 of them on here, 00 through 99, I want you to think of each one of these stage settings as a 4-channel or 4-strip mixer. If you can grasp that concept, you've already mastered what a stage setting is, because each stage setting has 4 separate channel strips. Casio likes to call them zones, zone 1 through zone 4. Once you learn how to do one zone, you know how to do the other. You're just going to assign a different preset or instrument to each strip or zone. So, without further ado, let's go to, we're already on bank 00. And basically, if you're looking above this line, the name Concert Grand, that's the name of this mixer. We can call it anything that we want. Casio chose to call it Concert Grand. Below, they use the word tone to describe what other manufacturers might call patches or presets or voices. They all mean the same thing. Let's call it tones just to be consistent with Casio's terminology. The tone on zone 1, Z1, is on. And again, associate this with a strip on a mixer. So zone 1, call that strip 1. We have that on, and it's set for the piano preset, and that piano preset is set for voice 00, which is the grand piano concert. And if you watch one of my previous videos, you can see all the things that you can do with that zone 1 where is it in the mix, to the left, to the right. And it does a lot more than a mixer does. You can control a lot of things with that. But basically, let's go to strip 2, which is zone 2, according to Casio's terminology, by pressing this plus button for the zone things. Now we're on zone 2. That's off. But the instrument that they kind of predetermined would go best with that is the concert strings, which is a hex layer U073. It's off. You're not going to hear it. Let's turn it on. And we do that by holding down the minus and plus keys over here at the same time. That toggles on off for whatever zone you're on. So zone 2 is now on. So you're hearing basically zones or strips 1 and 2 now at the same time. You're hearing the grand piano concert on strip or zone 1. And you're hearing the concert strings hex layer on zone 2 or strip 2. You're hearing them both together. You can control a lot of different things for each one of these zones or strips, and we covered that in a previous video. Now let's see what's on strip 3 or zone 3 by hitting the plus key. They thought acoustic bass might go good with that. You can't hear it because it's set to off. So let's turn it on by holding the minus and plus keys together. You hear it now? And if we go to strip 4 or zone 4 by hitting the plus key, they have air electric piano 1. It's off. And you get the idea. Now, let's say I don't want air electric piano on that, but let's turn it on so you see what it sounds like. Not that much of a difference. But let's say I don't want that instrument on zone 4 or strip 4. So I get to pick from all these categories. Let's go to guitar/bass. That's my category there. The default is acoustic bass 1. Let's change that over here to something else. Steel guitar. Okay. I've got 4 sounds layered, 1 through each strip or zone. And you can control any of these. You can layer whatever you want. So if I go back to strip 3 or zone 3, which is acoustic bass, and I don't want that. I want something else. Let's go to the synth various. That's the category. And I want to change that. Well, actually, pulse lead 2, that might be cool. So I think you get the idea just by way of analogy, comparing zones to channel strips on a mixer and comparing stage settings to each 4-channel mixer. If you can think in terms of that, you've already mastered this. And you can control a lot more than just that. But for now, this is just a brief intro so that you understand more about stage settings in terms of mixer settings. Piano Man Chuck, hope this helps. Thanks for watching.